Chapter 14, Section 5 in the 8th grade note-taking guide is entitled Multiplying Polynomials by Monomials. So what they're going to start off with here is something a little bit easier than what they've described. They're actually going to start off and just multiply together two monomials. So let's go ahead and look at questions here where we're multiplying monomials together. All right, if we take a look at what we've got here in 1a, we've got 2x cubed y squared being multiplied by 6x to the 5th y cubed. So, as a matter of fact of putting these together here, we know what to do with the integer parts right away. If we're multiplying and I've got integers, I can do that. We've been doing that forever. So we can go ahead and put the 2 and the 6 right away together here to make 12, which is what you see as part of the answer here. Now, it's the exponents and the variables that worry me. Hopefully you remember the product of a powers rule. The product of powers rule says that when you have variables and you're multiplying them together, the parts with the same base, when combining them with multiplication, you actually add the exponents, which is why out here in the directions it says we are to add the exponents. So if we look, for instance, at the x's, here is x cubed, and over here is x to the 5th. Well, what the rule says I'm supposed to do here is not to multiply these together, even though this is a multiplication problem. The rule says I'm supposed to add the exponents together. So that's going to combine to actually make x to the 8th, which is what you can see that they've written here as part of the answer. Let's do that one more time with the y's here. We've got y to the 2nd with y to the 3rd. Well, again, the rule says in a multiplication problem, when you
have like bases, these are both y's as the bases. When you have like bases, you go ahead and you add the exponents. So I'm going to add the 2 and the 3 together, and that's going to combine to make 5. And that's where the y to the 5th part of the answer comes from. It's not difficult, it's just a matter of remembering that rule as we go through this here. All right, so if we look at 1b here, we've got 9, a to the 5th, b to the 7th being multiplied by negative 2, a to the 4th, b cubed. So if we take a look at the integer parts here, we've got a 9 and a negative 2 I'm multiplying together. That's going to give me negative 18. A to the 5th and a to the 4th, that's going to combine to make a to the 9th. Remember, we're adding the exponents, so that's where that part of the answer came from. And then b to the 7th and b to the 3rd combines to make b to the 10th. I want to remind you as well, because they could do this and there would be nothing wrong with it, if you have a negative exponent, you still add in the negative exponent here. Because it's still part of a product. The problem will be is if that solution part works out to be negative, you've got to take that negative part and flip it to the other side of the fraction, which then makes it positive, and then you can write that as part of your solution. But of course, here, while you can do it for multiplying, your answer isn't really a polynomial then, because as you know, we're not allowed to have that negative exponent. So we can do it. We have the process to do it, but it's not really technically legal here. Okay, so now as we go down and take a look here at number 2, in number 2 now the question switches. Now they're going to take a monomial and multiply it by a binomial. So what they're really doing here, the way they've set this up, is they're doing distributive property here. So if we take a look at what we've got 3m, and it's being multiplied by 5m squared plus 2m. So let's go ahead and take care of that here. So you're going to take the 3m that's in front and multiply it through to both parts as they're showing you here. So the 3m being multiplied by the 5m squared. Well, 3 times 5 is going to give me 15, as you can see. And then the m being multiplied by m squared, well, that's like m to the 1st being combined with m to the 2nd. Well, as you saw on the last page here, we add the exponents. So that's actually going to combine to make m to the 3rd, which is what you can see they wrote here. Then we've got our addition sign, which just drags down. And then I'm going to do 3 times 2. Well, 3 times 2 is going to change into 6. And then I've got the m and the m, which is going to combine to make m squared. So that's going to give me 6m squared.
And there's nothing you can do beyond this because m cubed and m squared are not like terms because they have different exponents. And so that's your final solution.